Me?
That would be yours truly.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for being here. We are going to call this special session of the open meeting to order. Could I get a roll call, please?
Yes, of course. Co-Chair Rayleigh? Here. Member Graham?
Here.
And Co-Chair Reyes.
Here.
I'll also call for Member Vice Chair Hall, who is not here. And then we have Secretary Pahi, who's also not here. I will take notes for minutes tonight.
Thank you. And we have staff in attendance.
We do have a couple of people, and we also have the attorney, your attorney waiting, and Mr. Padilla, your school business official, also waiting.
Great, thank you.
And may I just make note
Yep.
before you proceed that I did remove the minutes approval because you have 10 days to get minutes prepared. So I removed that from the agenda because they're not ready for approval yet from Ms. Pahi.
Okay. Thank you. I'm making a note of that. All right. Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. On our agenda, we have a public comment section about any items on the agenda. Do we have anybody in the public who would like to speak about the agenda, who either wants to comment in chat or raise their hand to make a comment? The board cannot respond to the comments. However, we can take comments based on our Open Meetings Act.
So again, attendees, if you would like to make a comment, please put your name in the chat or raise your digital hand. Therese, I'm not seeing anything in either the chat or the digital hand.
Thank you, Ms. Warner. Due to the inavailability of the current, wait, I got ahead of myself, meeting notes. Would you please bring our school finance person into the meeting so that we could go over how schools are financed?
Absolutely. Before we do that, did you want to approve the current agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought because there was no, all right. Could I get a motion to approve the current agenda?
I motion to approve.
I will second that motion.
Also, it appears as if we've lost
Mrs. Graham.
Member Graham. So,
oh, here we go.
Oh, she's okay. Sorry.
That's
so
okay.
I'm sorry. We had a motion from Chair Rayleigh to approve the current agenda. And did you second?
I did second that motion.
Okay.
Miss Graham, Member Graham, are you able to hear us now?
Yes, it kicked me out for a little bit.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back. All right. So we made a motion and seconded it to approve this current agenda. And so now we will go down to item 4 for our governing council business. And we're going to.
We do have to vote first.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Member Graham? Aye.
Aye. Yes.
So that passes 3-0. And that again is with the notation that I removed already the minutes from last meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for keeping me in compliance. I believe we have to wait for Member Graham to return. There's Josh. There they are. Good
Hello,
evening.
good evening. How is everybody?
Well, thank you. We appreciate you
Good.
being here.
Thank you for having me. So I have a brief presentation for you all. Just a bit of a rundown of how charter schools are financed. It's a little bit of buckets of their allocations that are given from the state and federal grants that each school applies for. So let's get started. So there's a variety of buckets and it has special requirements. Charter schools cannot incur debt and do not have access to capital outlay funds, unfortunately. So we have to operate with the buckets that we have. The first one is the state equalization guarantee bucket. This is based on per pupil funding, which is a unit value that the state gives all charter schools and public schools every year. This is essentially an unrestricted allocation, which is used primarily for operations. Um, Salaries and benefits, utilities, insurance, professional services, any type of supplies, whether it be school, office supplies, technology, including printer software, phones, things of that nature. This is also used for any other carryover that grants or any of the restricted funds cannot cover. The unrestricted fund of the SEG will cover the expenses that they cannot. A different bucket, bucket two, federal program grants. These are earmarked for particular purposes. A little idea of what those are. IDEA is for special education services, Title I, at-risk students, Title II, quality of teachers, and Title IV, student achievement. So these buckets can be used for salaries and benefits as long as the grant is written that way and it's allocated properly. So if we do go over any one of these buckets and expenses, that is when the SEG operations fund will cover any of those expenses. Bucket number three, this is federal or state grants. This is in particular to any of the grants the school applied for. This particular school applied for the Educator Fellows grants and the Kitchen School grant. So these grants, you have to expend them before you were reimbursed. So the school has to have money in order to get the money reimbursed from the state. The Educator Fellows grant covers educational assistance. Their particular what they're paid and any type of technology that they're using throughout the year. The school kitchen infrastructure improvement grant is for exactly that school kitchen and infrastructure. So any type of projects having to do with feeding kids, a kitchen, any projects such as big utilities that might be used in order to cook or serve schools. So these are earmarked for only those particular purposes. They cannot be used for anything else. And lastly, some other allocation that the school does use. It's Fine Arts Education Act. It's part of the SEG payments that is geared towards providing fine arts classes to elementary students. So it's in that one big bucket of SEG, but you have to earmark it for fine arts education, school transportation by the state, lease assistance by the state, which is determined by the last school year's enrollments and the amounts of the lease, and food services. So this is covering all food services as well as the food for the schools. Now, all these do not cover the entire cost of the particular expense other than food services, but they do help with the expenses of the school. Anything that is not covered will be covered by the operational fund, the unrestricted fund, the SEG fund. And that's essentially how the school is funded and the buckets in which it uses to fund and operate. Any questions regarding the allocations where they come from, how they're expended, anything?
I don't think so, but I appreciate it, Josh, because I do think that there's been some confusion just from some messages I've gotten from staff and families about how funds are spent. And for example, I think we talked about this last week maybe, but um, there were questions about how can you buy a van and yet you're having to cut the salary. And this helps to,
Right,
I think, explain why we could
right.
not buying the van wasn't going to help us because it's part of that grant that can only be used for that. So I appreciate you sharing that with everybody and maybe help folks understand a little bit more about how the buckets work. And
R-
again, on SCG, I think the bulk of the SCG, a vast majority of the SCG funds is to salaries and benefits, correct?
Yes. In fact, over 65% of any budget for a school is salaries and benefits. So it's the vast majority of any school's expenditures. And to your point about the van, that is strictly that has to do with the kitchen infrastructure grant. The way it's written is they the way it's written is the van has to do with kitchen infrastructure just because it travels the food to and fro the distribution. So it has to be earmarked. It has to be used for that particular purpose. If not, then the school will not be reimbursed for the purchase of that van whatsoever. There are very strict rules.
Thank you.
Yep. School finance is very complicated. And like you said, anytime we have federal grants money, they're not just open for use. They have specific duties that those dollars have to provide for. So we appreciate you clarifying that. Does anybody on the board have any other questions or comments about the presentation that Josh just gave?
Thank you, Josh.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Board, I need a motion for us to go into closed session now to discuss some of the issues related to this finance.
I make a motion for us to go into closed session to discuss the financial issues.
So to clarify, you'll be discussing the financing of property
Yes,
during this first session. So remember, Graham, I just want to modify the motion for the minutes to that regard, if that's okay with you.
That is fine. Will remake the motion for us to go to closed session to discuss the financial on the property.
I second.
Would you like me to do a roll call vote, Chair Reyes?
please.
Okay. Co-Chair Rayleigh,
Yes.
Member Graham,
Yes.
and Co-Chair Reyes.
Yes.
Okay, so to go to the closed session, I think you're going to need Mr.
need-
Bayardo and Mr. Sparks, right?
That is
Stop.
correct.
Is that correct?
If we could start with just Justin and the board members, and then we'll bring Justin in
Okay.
at the time of them.
Okay, so I'm going to send an invite, and I'll also put it here in the link. I'm going to bring Mr. Sparks to the, and just so they can see the chat. If you don't mind, I'm just going to bring them into this meeting. I guess Josh, I don't know if, do you need Josh anymore?
Um, Did you need me to explain the reduction in force whatsoever or the reasoning behind that? I know that was on the agenda, but
That
I didn't know if you all wanted
on-
me to touch on that.
Oh, so there was a question about what led to the deficit. Do you want him to
I'm
address
so
that now?
sorry. I had my agenda pushed over. Yes, would you please explain what led to the deficit and now that
Sure.
requires reduction in force, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. Essentially, what it rolls down to is just a reduction in enrollment. The projections in which we had a higher enrollment than what the actual 40th day enrollment was. So the whole basis of the SEG payments that come in from the state is based off the 40th day enrollment that each school gets within a year. If the school does not meet that enrollment or exceeds that enrollment, it'll determine how much SEG fund money will come in for that school. So the projected enrollment just did not match the actual enrollments by quite a bit, which explains the loss of of expenses that leads to the reduction in force. So how this happened, unforeseen construction delays in a new facility, and just a shortfall of students enrolling at the given time of 40th day. That's not to say that a lot of students will enroll after the 40th day, and that's great. That'll help the school in funding for next year, but unfortunately it just will not count this year.
And so this deficit, can I just ask a question? The deficit this year is being addressed and it's significant, but in future years, is there a financial health concern here or what's?
There, no, I don't see a financial health concern as long as the issues that are brought to light now are taken care of. Then I don't see a financial concern in the future, especially with the new building, the new construction being done on the building, which is going to help, I think, with enrollment next year. And projections are already pretty high for this school. I don't see a problem with it. And as long as we are abiding by the budgets in which we make, then I think that the school will be in good financial position going forward.
So,
Thank you, Josh.
thank you, Josh. So, a couple months ago, the projections were from the SEG with that enrollment number included. Since the 40-day count, that number was reduced, which means the deficit in the budget. I'm so sorry. And that is what accounts for the budget deficit, not an accounting error or any kind of expense that wasn't expected. It just had to do with the amount of money we get for SEG, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah,
It is,
and
yeah, go ahead, Karen.
no, I just wanted to comment because of the concerns that have been raised and sent to me. Like, this isn't a mismanagement of funds by anyone or anything like that. I just wanted to publicly state that. And also uh, share that another thing that's been shared with me is that there were a lot of families who were planning to come to explore when we opened the new building, but then didn't do that. So they want to come next year, but that's going to be a bit of a problem for this year. So.
Right.
Mr. Sparks is raising his hand.
Mr. Sparks, please.
I apologize for my appearance. I just walked in the door from being on vacation, so I'm still wearing a hat. I do want to ask a couple of questions of Mr. Padilla that the reasoning we'll get into when we get into closed session. But would that be okay if I asked a few questions?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So will you clarify, and I think you said it, but is there a financial reason that the school will not be able to survive this year without this reduction in force, or is this addressing future years that this is needed?
Only this year. This will only be this year. Again, it is strictly tied to the amount of enrollment that the school received on the 40th day. As the school progresses and as we create next year's projections and budget, this past year will not have a bearing on that.
Great. And is the school using up all of its reserves except for its required reserves in order to meet its budget for this year?
Yes, it is.
So what is the percentage that it is saving in reserve?
What is the percentage that it's saving in reserve for this upcoming year?
Well, so this current year, how much is it going to hold in reserve versus spend in order to meet this budget shortfall?
Essentially almost amounts to zero. that would be expended. The other correlation with that was meeting bond covenant, which the school has to meet its bond covenant obligation.
Great. So this is part of what's called the Swisher analysis that schools are required to apply whenever they do a reduction in force. And so the New Mexico Supreme Court has applied a test, and part of those are requirements that the school, is only holding back the absolute minimum reserves that are required, and that this isn't something for the next year's health or the future health of the school, but this is for the immediate future or the immediate need, that you can't meet your budget this year and you will not be financially viable. This isn't about the health of the future. This is about now. So those were the only questions I had. Just wanted to establish that the board has taken into consideration this Swisher analysis, and these factors do apply in this context. So thank you, Mr. Padilla.
Thank you.
So I know we digressed, but I think we had a motion and a second to go into closed session.
And a vote. I
And-
believe we did vote as well.
Okay, so yes, you're right. So I did put a link in the chat and also sent you all an invitation to go to the closed session. My intention is to mute and stop myself here, go over there, let you in, and then come back to the open session and wait with the folks for you to come back. Again, the link is in the chat here. If you don't see it, just raise your hand or let me know. I'll put it again. And you should have gotten an email with an invitation to the closed session as well. Remember, when you're done the closed session, if you're having trouble getting back to this open meeting, please go check your email for a link from when you registered, if there's any issues getting back here. Any questions for me? Okay.
Do I go to that session or no? Not right now.
Dr. Hall, I think I'll ask Chair Rayleigh and Chair Reyes when I get in, and Mr. Sparks when I get into that closed session before I
Okay.
come back. I'll let you know.
All right, thanks.
Thanks. Josh, would you like me to send you back to attendees?
Sure.
Okay, thanks so much for your help.
Yep.
You should not be uninvited. I don't know what happened. Please leave.
All right, could I
Thank
please
you.
have a motion to close the first closed session?
I will make a motion to close the first closed session.
I second.
Could I get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Chair Reyes,
Uh, yes.
Member Graham,
Yes.
and Chair Rayleigh.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
All right, during the closed session, we, due to time constraints and to have a quorum for the continuing meeting, we opted to call another session to finish the items in that closed session, but we would like to I need a motion that we open the second closed session so that we could conclude that business. We will need Mrs. Hull, Mr. Sparks, Mr. Padilla in the closed session so that we can finish that business so that we don't have two items of action unresolved.
So to clarify for the minutes, no action is being taken on the closed session number 1. You're going to reconvene on that at another time.
Correct. We
And
would
we're
like,
now going to consider going
Yeah.
into closed session 2.
yes,
I motion to move into the second closed session about personnel.
And I second that.
Okay, Chair Reyes,
yes, please,
Sure.
move us in, oh, you're doing a roll call. Yes, I agree to go into the second closed session.
Chair Rayleigh,
Yes.
and Member Graham.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. I would recommend that we just use the same link and the same closed session you were in. I will go over there to let you in. I think I heard that you would like Dr. Hull and Josh, who's no longer at the meeting, but I will try to
That's
reach
okay.
him.
He's fine. Mr. Sparks, I believe, should be in that meeting.
Yes.
So Dr. Hull and Mr. Sparks.
Yes,
Yes, please.
thank you.
You bet. And you should have the link from earlier. Do you need me to paste it in the chat again?
Would you please, just so I don't
Absolutely.
open another window?
Mhm, mhm.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, I will
And I'll
see
see
you
you over there.
closed session. Thank you. Okay. During our closed session, it was recommended that regarding the reduction in force that we state for the record on legal counsel that all based on a Supreme Court decision in 2006 and seconded by the New Mexico State Supreme Court. One of the conditions was to meet that Swisher protocol that he mentioned at the beginning of the meeting in a reduction of force, that we will not have any capital outlay left over, and that in the reduction of force, every position of a qualified teacher that could be retained personnel was moved around to accommodate the fact that they were licensed teachers. So those were the things that were done to offset the reduction in force and to comply with the law. We do not have a quorum, so we cannot vote on those issues and would have to have a second meeting, but I would like to open up the meeting to public comment now. Apologize, we do have to record it for Open Meetings Act. And if you have any comments, please raise your hand, post them in the chat, or and again, we cannot comment. However, we can take your comments for 3 minutes per person. I will mute now, and you are welcome to join the discussion or the comments.
So again, if you want to make a comment, raise your digital hand or put your name in the chat and we'll call you. Chair Reyes, I'm not seeing either a digital hand or a comment in the chat.
Thank you. Due to the fact that we do not have a quorum, we do not need a motion to close this meetings. Therefore, I am closing the meeting for today, October 17th, 2024. Thank you all for your time and attention.